Humans of the cardboard, we are trucking along with our news cycle here. We've had a ton of stuff coming out the last couple days, and that will not stop here because, as you can see, I was expecting, if anything, more Dune cards here. Still 30 plus more to go in the next 10 days, but we actually don't get it here, so that's even more to look forward to. But tonight, we have the first cards to look at for the new Jack Atlas structure deck here, including a new Synchro and I think another monster or two. Very exciting. Jack Atlas cards are like really weird because he has like his boss monsters, Red Dragon Archfiend cards, and then he also uses some Resonator tuners. He uses some cards with like red in the name, and he uses like sometimes random Archfiend cards. But it's never felt cohesive, right? So I'm guessing that's going to be somewhat of the goal of this structure deck. But let's take a look at what we're starting off with here. We should have 8 cards total at the end of this thing. I think we have 3 tonight. So let's get started with our new, hopefully a new boss monster that's solid. Scar Red Dragon Archfiend. I love the artwork. This is a really cool artwork for Red Dragon Archfiend. It's a dark dragon synchro effect monster. It's level 8, 3k, 25 for the stats. He's almost completely generic. He takes any tuner plus any one or more dark non-tuners. So nothing too crazy. It's still very easy to make, of course. Okay, here we go. This card's name becomes Red Dragon Archfiend while on the field or in the graveyard. Okay, cool. Not bad. If this card is sent from the monster zone to the graveyard, you can special summon one Red Dragon Archfiend from your extra deck. This is treated as a synchro summon. Then if this card was sent to the graveyard as synchro material for a dark dragon synchro monster, you can destroy all opponent's attack position monsters. Whoa, that's a pretty powerful effect. This is generic, like sent to the graveyard from the monster zone. Which means like even if we're not talking about, synchroing it off, which is probably the main use here, even if your opponent removes it from the field, pops it, whatever, you still get a Red Dragon Archfiend out of this. This is one of these effects that, Konami makes to still make the classic card playable, right? Because you're still going to probably want to play one copy of Red Dragon Archfiend at least, just so you can get that float effect. And there's a lot of good uses here. I mean, there is the potential to just synchro climb with this card on your first turn. Make this guy who's an 8 synchro climb into a 10 or a 9 even, because I think Hot Red Dragon is a 9. So him plus any, I think, is it Dark Tuner, can make that. That's a negate. And then this card floats engraved to summon a level 8. And then, you could potentially make another synchro boss monster. That's really good. There's the potential to a quick effect on the opponent's turn. Use this as a synchro material. Do a quick synchro to make a boss monster and then trigger this card in grave to not only summon out a Red Dragon Archfiend, but then also destroy all your opponent's attack position monsters. There's some real good effects here. I think there's utility going first. I think there's utility going second. I'm sure this will be a thing as well with the rest of the support and potentially with some cards that already exist, making this card better and work with more stuff. The fact that it would count as the Red Dragon Archfiend itself while on the field or in the grave. Very cool. This is a good card. I think this is just straight up a good generic card. Very cool. And it can be abused generically too. Don't sleep on that either. As long as you're able to use dark monsters to make it. This card could end up coming up. Crazy. All right, next up we have Soul Resonator. Of course, you're expecting new Resonators. This is a Fire Fiend tuner, of course, level 3. 500 attack, 200 defense. You can only use the first and second effects of this card once per turn. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one level 4 or lower Fiend monster from your deck to your hand. Oh, wow. Any little 4 lower Fiend. This could just search Skullmeister if you want. Also, you can add special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except dark synchro monsters. Okay, so it locks you into dark synchros, which, is going to lock you into out of a good amount of stuff, for sure. But, wow, not only is it a tuner, but it just straight up is a Stratos tuner. I'm sure there's going to be some solid extender cards that this is searching that just gets you right into, and a really easy synchro climb. Hopefully an 8, right? If this could search something that's going to be able to get you into an 8 somehow, that'd be really cool. Also, if this card you control would be destroyed by card effect while you control Red Dragon Archfiend or a synchro monster that mentions it, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Oh, I'm sorry, if a card you control. So while engraved, this card is just Banelinks as long as you control a Red Dragon Archfiend or any, let's see, or a synchro monster that mentions it. That's pretty good. Okay, so Banelinks engrave, and it's a Stratos tuner. I don't know if we've ever seen like an actual Stratos tuner monster, but that's pretty powerful. And again, I mean, if you can work around this, this could even come up in other Fiend decks as well. I'm going to definitely theorize some of that stuff and see what potential search targets there are. But yeah, definitely interesting. And the last card we have here today for the first reveals is Bone Archfiend. I mean, I said it at the top. I said this deck has the Red Dragon Archfiend stuff. It has Resonators. He uses Archfiends. I guess the only thing here is they don't have any new red cards here. But there's already a couple that like actually could be pretty decent, but we'll see. Okay, here we go. This is Bone Archfiend. Dark Fiend effect monster, level 4, 1800. So this is a prime search target for Soul Resonator, potentially. You can only use the first and second effects of this card once per turn. If this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can send one other card from your hand or field to the graveyard. Special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except Dark Synchro monsters. Not a huge deal. I mean, still a pretty decent extender. Sends any card from hand or field. That's really interesting. You can target one face-up monster you control, send one Fiend tuner from your hand or deck to the grave, and if you do increase or decrease that target's level by 1, that's exactly what I was saying. So now this card is a 1-card, you know, Scar Red, or technically any level 8 Dark Synchro if you want, or level 8 or level 7 Dark Synchro as well. Actually, it could be a 6 as well. Wow, so a lot of really good stuff here. This guy's a pretty good extender. You have to have another card to send. That's the only thing with that makes Soul Resonator not a straight up one card. You'd have to pitch one other card some way. But here's another thing not to sleep on. Fiend Tuner. I'm sure there's some. I mean, I don't know them off the top of my head, but we're sending it from deck to grave to then like modulate the level. That could be huge. Being able to send a Fiend Tuner that maybe has a way to get itself back on the field and keep extending that way. I don't know them off the top of my head, but of course it could be something that's even unrevealed at this point. This is a pretty good first wave, and to be honest, I expected it to be pretty good. The structure decks have been pretty on point as of late. Konami's been doing a great job at making stuff that wasn't that competitive way, way better. This is a great start. I think the new Synchro is really good. I think this is like maybe one of the best tuners we've ever seen. I don't know when have we ever seen a tuner that's a legit starter card and like utilized as a tuner? This may be one of the first times we've ever seen that. And then Bone Archfiend. Feel free to correct me on that. I just can't think of anything off the top of my head. And then Bone Archfiend, good extender. I mean, I don't know. There's not much else to say here. Let me know your thoughts down below. If there's any other particular cards that maybe already exist that you think are super worth noting as far as these 3 cards are concerned, definitely keep in mind 5 more cards to go before all of these reveals are done. So obviously a lot of stuff that we're going to get a lot of additional cards that, you know, become really good and stuff. So we'll see. But very cool. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'm out of here for tonight. Thank you so much for watching as always, guys. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all things Yu-Gi-Oh! Reveals. You should have a ton of Dune reveals coming in the next week, you know, pretty much. And I'll keep you updated on all that stuff. I'm out of here. Bruce.